And for many of us, the state of our country is a worry to many sectional areas, but also to many people in many communities. But you visit most of those communities, you get to see that the plight of women and children is even a lot more in dire straits. Well, what do we need to do? And logically, as we're going to mark International Women's Day tomorrow, I guess we need to be talking about the plight of women and also children, because it's always said when you give a lot more opportunities to women, it means that you're giving a lot more opportunities to generations unborn. And I also believe in that very principle. Just think for a fact, I don't stay home. It's the woman in the house who will stay home and look after the children. And so that's how the whole training goes. I have a colleague of mine in the studio, and I'm privileged to have Odilia Del Sol of Furintiamwa in the studio. Thanks for joining me, Odilia.
Thank you. You have changed my name.
And she's also here with Prince Intiamwa Bwampong. And they are here because of a foundation they are launching tomorrow, just to coincide with International Women's Day. They call that very foundation Odilia Intiamwa Foundation. What an appropriate name for the day. And you're the president, Prince?
Yes.
Okay. And you are the
vice president.
Vice president as well. But let me start with you, Prince. Essentially, you would want to launch a foundation like this, and you want it to coincide with International Women's Day. But more so, it means that your objectives will be running around the themes of women and children. Is that not it?
Yeah, as a foundation, we have a gender arm that we operate in. And because my foundation is having my wife as the head, which de facto she is the vice, we sort of thought it wise to launch it on an International Women's Day. So it's a day that has come to meet the agenda that we were having in place, and want to celebrate women and also push an agenda, start a discussion on that day.
Well, Odilia, appropriately, I know that based on my workings with you in the newsroom, you have reported widely on issues of women, attended conferences, etc. What do you think foremostly confronts women as far as we're concerned, for which your organization would want to work closely with them and in areas where they are most vulnerable?
Well, I would say that women have had the opportunity, especially in Ghana, to grow in terms of figures and numbers when it comes to issues relating to governance, issues relating to education, amongst other things. Now, we wouldn't want these achievements to be derailed. We would want to continue. Of course, some other communities, rural communities, may not necessarily have all the opportunity, but we're saying that let's build building blocks. We have a good foundation that we can build upon. And coming election 2016, we do not want these things to be derailed. We want to continue building upon the things that we have started. Now, when you look at the International Women's Day, this year's theme is on gender parity. Now, the gender parity issues cannot be achieved if we do not have a peaceful election. Now, countries have slowed when it comes to gender parity issues, and the UN is very worried about it. There is the Agenda 50-50 that is supposed to be established by 2030. Now, if these things do not happen, for women to have 50% right, men to also have 50% right, you end up saying that we have just conducted an election, done it in a way that is not peaceful, and all the things that we wanted to achieve as a country have all been derailed. And that's exactly why we're tying it in with the International Women's Day when it comes to the Odilia Intiamwa Foundation. Because I've traveled around the country. I have done many stories on social issues. And I think that women and children, especially in rural communities, are mostly vulnerable. And if we are not able to push the agenda of a peaceful elections, they will go even further back.
At the end of the day, it's the issue of how the election also is expected to impact on this very targeted group.
Absolutely.
What would you want to be working with the stakeholders on? especially on which issues and on what timelines?
Yes. What we're doing is we have a series of projects within this that we're looking at. I think that women in journalism, for instance, have a strong mouthpiece. Myself, together with other colleagues, what kind of stories can we do to sort of promote peace and security, using ourselves as women, you know, to achieve some of these things. Now, if women also as chiefs, as queen mothers, of course, they are chiefs who are women.
Women as well,
yes. And so if chiefs and queen mothers will also play their role, what we're saying is, in your own small community as a woman, what can you do to make sure that these elections really go on smoothly? And then we also have a couple of projects together that we'll be running with some international organizations on how people can call toll-free numbers during the elections to say that, look, this is what is happening here, so that we quickly move in people or we quickly alert the appropriate authorities. And so these are some of the things that we'll be putting together for the coming elections.
It will be interesting to see how you work with the political parties, Prince, and especially to try to tease out from what their core objectives are for this very election, and what they will be telling the electorate, and how that also dovetails into your own objectives. But if in going forward and trying to put together all this launch and all, what do you think that you can, as a body, work with to say that these are the blueprints for which we know that the Odilia and Tiamwa Foundation will be known for, and going forward, these are the hallmarks for which you would want to be known for?
Politicians will always be politicians. They'll be looking for their power in 2016. But above all, we have interest lines to protect when it comes to gender issues. So we, as a foundation, the bigger picture was on parity for the international level, but as an organization, we have scaled it down to how women can be used as tools for peace and security. And I mean tools figuratively, because there's gender activists also around. Anyway, let me emphasize on. But to drum home what we intend doing and trying to achieve, we have set a series of activities, as it was saying, my vice was saying, that will bring out the contributions of women during the elections. Because, listen, from the home, that we are all part. We cannot attest to the fact that the men, we are the head, but the women really make the decisions. So a man, every bad man, I always say that every bad man is having a bad wife, because they take the advice from the house. So when you target women, you are even, in fact, attacking the foundation of the whole process. And it can go very well for all of us if we're able to use them very well. Because now, you look at a country that we are in, we have the Electoral Commissioner being a woman, the Chief Justice, the Attorney General. They are in key positions. And the way they will act, even in these elections, will have a very wide impact on all of us, especially women and children. The target always is on women and children, because
they're the most vulnerable, so
yes,
to speak.
Of course. So as a foundation, we have other areas that we operate, but we're saying that, listen, our immediate need is to have peace and security if we are able to travel ahead November 2016 after the elections to be able to execute our projects. So why don't we concentrate now and just make sure that we use women as part of the operation that we do to bring in peace and security. Once that one is achieved, then we can concentrate on the other things we do in health, education, and all to help people around.
Do you think in areas where perhaps the women are not a lot more vocal or very much unaware, illiterate in the sense, and not very much informed, how then do they take part in the whole process?
Yes, we like I said, we have a couple of training programs. Even if these women do not have education, they definitely have a voice at home. They have sons, they have daughters, youth at home who probably could be used during elections when people think violence. Now, you would want to say that, look, let's train these people, let's make them aware, so that when they go home, they are able to really talk to their children. And I'm sure that these people have a certain level of influence. Every mother has a certain level of influence. And when young people would want to do anything bad during the elections, and you have a mother saying that, look, think about the whole lot of us, think about the whole country, I'm sure that it would make a necessary impact. And so we will have people in communities also being trained on issues relating to a peaceful election. We're also looking at, like I said earlier, we're looking at chiefs, we are looking at queen mothers also playing their roles, and definitely they will disseminate this information to people who are at the grassroots level.
It looks like far-reaching objectives that you have, and it will mean a lot more stakeholder engagement and other activities.
Yes.
Sounds like very expensive to me. How do you hope to fund all this?
Well, we have started doing our sensitization, doing our collaborative discussions with international organizations, of course, who are also very interested in the peace and security of this country. And we hope to also use the launch of the foundation to say that this is credible, this is something that people have put their necks on the line, and hope that it will attract many more people, stakeholders who have interest in this country, to participate and also to help in achieving the agenda.
You have supporters currently you're working with, maybe some notable international organizations or local agencies?
So, well, we have UNDP coming in for this program. We have Kofi Annan Peace Center also coming in. We have Small Arms Commission. We have the Gender Ministry. We have Blue Skies Foundation. They are all coming on board to make sure that we get this program becomes a success. So I think these are partners that we have started with, and we hope to, increase their reach into other donor agencies and organizations who are interested in this subject matter that we are pushing.
We just marked Independence yesterday. Of course, today is a holiday, just the remnants of the whole day as part of the commemoration. But when it comes to saying that 59 years of nationhood, we still have thousands, or if not millions, of women and children who still don't have access to a lot of the things that will make them very much aware or informed. How do you think the organizations like yours can help bridge the gap in the medium to long term?
Yeah, I think that when you look at some of the things that we have under our gender agenda, it's not just on peace and security, but each year we pick a thematic area that we feel that this should push the agenda to position women in a better light. And so this year we're looking at gender, using women in peace and security, because if we do not have the peace and security as the starting point, we will not be able to even push the agenda of getting more girls into school.
Because then there will be chaos.
Exactly. Pushing the agenda of getting more women in high places, pushing the agenda of having a domestic violence-free environment, at home. And so for us, the priority now is let's get this behind us by November, and afterwards, then all the other things will proceed afterwards. I remember I was in the Pru East constituency the last time, did a story on a few young ladies who did not have sanitary towels, and because of that, they do not come to school regularly. So at the beginning of the month, if they have their menses, then they're not going to show up in school, and that will be 5 days of lost time, or perhaps if they have heavy flow, then it's going to be 7 days of lost time. And so that is one of the objectives of the foundation, to get young girls sanitary towels to them. And that day when I did this story, I just quickly gave them money to go and get sanitary towels, and they use unconventional means, rags that are not properly treated, and so infections are very likely and all that. So it's a bigger picture, but definitely we cannot put our hands in all of it at the same time. It's just
first things first.
First things first.
When does the launch, Prince, and where?
tomorrow, 8th March, is the launch because it's an International Women's Day, and we're doing it at Best Western Premier Hotel.
Okay.
And the time is 6 p.m., and we're inviting everybody to come.
Invite me. At
Yeah,
least this
yeah.
one invites me. I don't want to say more. 6 p.m.
Yeah.
So at least when I close, I just drive by. I spend an hour then before I leave.
Of
Yeah.
course.
I think that would be great.
That would be great. That would
Okay.
be great. It would be nice having
and
you
so
around.
we're wishing you all the best. And
Thank you.
well, it's a great initiative because we need a lot more women to be involved in the affairs of the country. Both of us have reported widely on, and sincerely, this one is coming from my heart. I am hoping that we can have a lot more of you and a lot more of us making the impact that we need.
Yes.
Because when you go out there, you get to see the state in which the vulnerable people are. You get just to thank God that you're so fortunate when you're where you are, because it's because of something that's why you're where you are. That brings to mind, of course, Ibrahim Atta, but also about the plight of others that could have been better placed, more worthy, if we had the various logistics and the policies were being pushed rightly and things like that.
You know that women in this country form more than 50%.
Yes.
And so if we're
Actually, just a little over 51%.
exactly. So if we're educating them, making sure that we're pulling them along, that is 50% of our economy that is also going to do very well. I quickly want to say that I'd like to say a big thank you to LED Advertising. They
Okay.
put all our billboards, our program on 8 of their electronic billboards
Wow.
because they believe in the agenda of gender and they believe in our objectives. We also want to say a big thank you to a personal friend of mine who works with Total, making financial contributions and all that. Prince, what have I left out?
We have companies like CIG Microfinance. They also helped us. We have Media Empire. We have East Capital.
Okay.
And so all of us coming on board, and we have DSG Models, who is going to give out ushers for the day.
All right.
And so a lot of people, a lot
Yeah,
more companies.
advertising a lot more. We'll have to
Yes.
do. She knows the rules.
Yes, yes.
But I knew that that was just a back pass. Sometimes it helps. And so I wish you all the best.
Thank
and
you,
then
Roland.
whenever you need us, we can always be available
Yes.
to. It's good that we have a lot more of such initiatives, all in a bit to make sure that we promote the vulnerable in our society, but also breach the gender parity, because sometimes you get to see that the gap is so widened and you just do a lot more introspection and think, when are we going to get there? Just as a benchmark with what happens in other countries. And so we're wishing you all the best again. The Odilia Intiamwa Foundation is going to be launched tomorrow. It's 6 p.m. Best Western Hotel in Accra. Wherever you are, if you've been given the invite, please make sure you get there, as always. You want to get interactive, please make sure you do so on our Facebook page, Joy News on TV. It's been linked to our Twitter handle, Joy News on TV, and also WhatsApp platform 0568 100,000 is the number for you to reach us. We're taking a break. When we come back, we'll have a lot more for you.